Welcome to Trending Unpacked, the show where viral stories meet everyday curiosity. So if you spent any time online this past week, and I mean any time at all, scrolling X, on TikTok, even just glancing at Reddit, you know what we're going to talk about.
Oh, it was impossible to avoid.
Right. It wasn't just another Sunday game. It was this massive content storm around the Panthers versus the 49ers.
It really was inescapable, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The level of saturation was, way beyond your typical NFL game traffic.
And it wasn't just about the final score.
Not at all. It wasn't just recaps. This became a genuine cultural moment. We saw, coaching decisions being picked apart like they were military strategy.
And the referee calls, oh my gosh.
The officiating calls were generating just mass outrage. And then you had these incredible player performances that launched all these immediate kind of hyperbolic comparisons.
That's the part that really got me, the amplification. It jumped outside the sports bubble. I saw reaction duets on TikTok from people who I know for a fact do not watch football.
Exactly. Comedy accounts making parody edits, general users just getting pulled into the drama.
It was about the score, sure, but it was also about the ref bias or perceived bias and what might happen with injured players.
And that's really what we want to get into here. We've got all this source material articles about the on-field drama, breakdowns of how the algorithms picked it up, deep dives into, the cultural meaning of it all.
So the big question is, why this game?
That's it. Why did this specific matchup just transcend its niche and become the centerpiece of online discussion? What was that perfect storm of drama, performance, and social media mechanics that just made it completely unavoidable?
It really felt like it was engineered for virality.
It absolutely was.
Okay, so let's get into this mountain of material. We have to start with the foundation, right? The game itself.
The raw materials.
The data is pretty clear that the main search trigger for both teams really wasn't just the final score. It was this mix of intense drama, these huge swings in momentum, and what our sources are calling debate-worthy moments.
The game was basically a content generator from the opening whistle. The initial spike happened because it was just feeding these very specific, potent triggers to the algorithm.
It wasn't a slow, boring game.
Not at all. It wasn't a predictable grind. If you look at the elements that got the strongest reactions, they were all instantly shareable, really emotional moments.
Like what specifically?
Well, the big touchdown moments, but not just any score. We're talking about touchdowns that completely changed the implied outcome of the game.
And they came with those big emotional player reactions too.
Exactly. That visual element is so important.
So talk me through one of those big swings. Was it that early score that put the 49ers ahead or the Panthers coming back?
I think the sequence that really broke the algorithm was in the third quarter. The 49ers were up by 10 and they were driving. It looked like they were about to put the game away.
Right. The narrative was, okay, this is over.
That was the tension. The expectation was another score, a 3-possession game, and everyone can go home. Instead, the Panthers defense gets this massive goal line interception.
On what looked like a sure thing.
A sure touchdown. And that one play, it didn't just stop the momentum. It injected this feeling of shock into the narrative. And then it directly led to a quick Panthers score just minutes later.
So now the whole conversation online flips. It's not about the 49ers lead anymore. It's about this incredible collapse and this resurrection story.
Precisely. And a play like that, a last-second interception, it generates way more online adrenaline than a predictable touchdown. It's pure risk and immediate reward.
And it wasn't just that one play.
No. The individual performances were just staggering. Key players on both sides were having career-defining games.
And that just fuels that second layer of engagement, right? The player versus player debates.
It's the ammunition. When the Panthers quarterback made that unbelievable escape and then threw that 50-yard bomb, that wasn't just a highlight. It was Exhibit A in the argument about whether he's an elite player.
It gives both fan bases something to fight about, even beyond the final score.
Exactly. The quality of the plays made the game feel important, providing partisans with data points for their narratives.
Okay, so great plays happen every week. But this game had something more, which was the disagreement. The controversy.
Conflict is currency.
And this game was printing money.
It really was. The real engagement drivers were the things that allowed for, widespread commentary from outside the diehard fan bases. And first and foremost, that means the officiating.
The refs.
The specific penalties that were getting criticized in real time. The entire conversation, for long stretches, wasn't even about the players. It was about the referees.
And our sources point out that critiquing the refs it has a low barrier to entry.
That is the perfect way to put it. It allows a casual viewer to jump into what feels like an expert-level debate without knowing anything about offensive formations. You just have to feel the injustice.
And there was one call in particular.
That pass interference call late in the fourth quarter, it looked so questionable on replay, and it just became this lightning rod. It led to referee criticism, literally trending on X.
So it overshadows the players themselves.
Completely. And that kind of polarization guarantees comments. Nothing gets an audience riled up faster than feeling like the system is rigged or unfair.
The outrage becomes this communal thing. Fans and non-fans can all bond over it.
Yes. And then you get the next level up, which is debating the coaching decisions. This is for the armchair strategists.
There's people yelling at their TVs.
Exactly. The source material points to a failed fourth down attempt that got 3 times the search volume of a successful field goal just a few minutes before.
Because the failure proves them right.
It validates every single person who is screaming, "Don't go for it." The choice and then the failure shifts the debate from player execution to coaching strategy.
And there was that punt late in the game, too.
Oh, the Panthers coach's decision to punt was just torn apart on Reddit for hours. These choices force the audience to have an opinion, which creates these long analysis threads that just extend the life of the conversation.
And then on top of all that, you have the human drama of injuries.
Yeah, that adds a whole other layer of speculation, and it's much more serious. When the 49ers starting safety went down, the narrative shifted immediately.
It stops being about this one game.
It becomes about the rest of their season, their whole playoff push, the anxiety around that injury. Is it season ending? What's the update? It elevates the whole conversation.
So you've got bad calls, questionable strategy, player injuries. There was always a fresh emotional angle for debate.
Which is exactly what the algorithms are designed to find and promote.
So we have the raw drama. Let's zoom out a bit. Why did this game, in the context of the whole season, matter so much?
The context is crucial. The stakes were incredibly high for both teams, and that's the foundation for this kind of mass virality.
It wasn't just another week.
No, it had huge playoff implications, and our sources confirm this. Games with clear, immediate playoff consequences get exponentially higher engagement online.
The higher the stakes, the more people are paying attention.
More eyes, and more importantly, more keyboards are focused on every single play. It turns a regular game into like a mini championship.
And the teams themselves had these ready-made stories.
They really did. You had the 49ers, who are often seen as this, dynasty or dominant force.
And then the Panthers, who were kind of the scrappy underdog.
Exactly. The unstoppable force versus the team fighting for respect. Those are archetypes. They're magnetic. Casual viewers who don't know the players still understand that story.
And you mentioned player performances before. There were milestones being hit, right?
Absolutely. The game had multiple players hitting career highs, and those stats were instantly weaponized online. One receiver's performance put him on pace for a record-breaking season.
So now you've got the fantasy football players invested, the stat watchers.
It gives the game a personal, individual focus. The story isn't just Team A beat Team B. It's Player X just cemented his Hall of Fame case in the third quarter.
Okay, so this all leads perfectly into how this stuff actually spread so fast. It wasn't just fans posting. This was processed. It was professional.
That speed points directly to the professionalization of sports content on social media. The sources are really clear about the role of these social media sports editors.
They didn't just upload a raw clip.
No way.
Yeah.
They created these high-energy, perfectly optimized highlight reels designed for TikTok, for Instagram Reels, for YouTube Shorts.
Platforms that demand speed.
They're intolerant of dead air. The content has to have maximum visual impact in, 6 to 15 seconds.
So what does that optimization actually look like? It's more than just clipping the touchdown, I assume.
Oh, it's way more complex. A good YouTube short, for example. First, they'll use polished edits that cut out all the boring lead-up. The clip starts right at the moment of peak tension. Second, they add dramatic music that wasn't actually playing in the stadium to crank up the emotion. Third, and this is critical, they use freeze-frame breakdowns. They'll circle a player, draw lines to show the play design.
To make you feel smart for understanding it.
Exactly. It gives you instant, digestible context, which makes the clip feel compelling and makes you want to reshare it. This high-polished packaging is basically engineered to beat the scroll.
That explains how it saturated the sports world. But what about that jump? How does this get to my aunt who only posts cat videos?
That's the key to a truly transcendent viral moment. The content has to appeal to something universal, and in this case, that's drama and meme culture.
So it's about the isolated clips.
Fundamentally, the virality was built on specific, isolated moments. This is so important because it means you could follow the drama, the outrage over the penalty, the shock of the catch without having seen the whole game.
You don't need the backstory.
You don't need any knowledge of the rules. You're consuming the conflict and the emotion, not the game itself.
So the conflict becomes the product.
That is the perfect way to summarize it. Clip virality depends on these single moments that work as standalone content. A coach's reaction shot, a player's celebration, a crazy catch.
Things anyone can have a reaction to.
Awe, laughter, shock. These clips become cultural shorthand. They get picked up by meme accounts, and suddenly the non-fan has to look it up just to understand the joke everyone else is making.
Okay, so that takes us from the raw material to the massive online response. And one of the most fascinating things to me was the sheer range of commentary.
It's the chaos of modern discourse, isn't it?
You had these incredibly sophisticated strategic breakdowns on one end.
The digital film room. Our sources showed these TikTok creators getting huge traction by, dissecting formations, breaking down blocking schemes, making really technical predictions.
So they're using the viral moment to do this, like free masterclass on football strategy.
They're capitalizing on the momentum to give real insight, which adds this intellectual weight to the whole conversation.
And then on the complete other end of the spectrum,
pure, cathartic, emotional venting. This was all over the team subreddits, all over X. The commentary there isn't driven by data. It's driven by loyalty, frustration, and just raw speculation.
highbrow analysis and lowbrow rage.
And both of them feed the exact same algorithm, keeping the game trending.
Speaking of emotional commentary, we have to talk about this. The recurring sports meme that just exploded after this game. The idea that the game was scripted.
The scripted meme is maybe the most important cultural interpretation of modern sports. It works on a few different levels.
It's not a real conspiracy theory, right?
No, not for most people. It's a form of collective, ironic commentary. It's a funny way to react when a result feels too dramatic, too much like a movie, to have happened by chance.
Saying this was scripted is really just shorthand for, wow, the plot twists were incredible.
Precisely. It's a way of acknowledging this sheer entertainment value. But there's a deeper layer to it now. The idea that the game was algorithmically boosted or optimized for drama.
That feels very current.
It taps into our general skepticism about how content works in a digital age. We know algorithms shape what we see. So joking that a game was optimized for drama is this very modern, slightly cynical response. It validates how we felt watching it, that it was just too neat to be real.
Let's talk about the platforms where these arguments lived. X and Reddit seemed like the main battlegrounds.
Yeah, and their dynamics are different but complementary, which is key for sustained virality. On X, it's all about high-speed interaction.
The hot take.
Instantaneous, heated debates, direct rivalry trash talk, really concentrated, sometimes personal criticism of refs or players. It's where outrage gets a megaphone.
And what makes X so good at keeping that frustration going?
The conversation decays slowly. An angry post gets 10,000 shares, and hours later, a new wave of people see it and get angry all over again. The arguments can be reignited so easily.
Whereas Reddit is a bit different.
Reddit provides a different ecosystem. You get the more detailed discussions there. Fans dissecting talent gaps, analyzing injuries, theorizing about future strategy in these really long threads.
But you also have the emotional venting.
Oh, massive amounts of it. But it's organized into these passionate team subreddits, which act as echo chambers for fan grief or celebration.
And this all leads to what our sources call reinforcement loops. Can you explain how these fan arguments keep the topic visible?
A reinforcement loop is basically algorithmic feedback. An aggressive argument doesn't just happen and then disappear. Fanbase A posts a critique. Fanbase B immediately responds with a 10-paragraph defense.
And every comment, every reply.
Every single interaction signals to the platform's algorithm that this topic is still highly relevant and emotionally charged. This back and forth makes the topic defy the normal content decay. It keeps it visible for days, not hours.
The conflict is literally the engine.
It's the economic engine of this kind of virality.
And then finally, the thing that brings everyone else in, the memes, the parody. This is where the seriousness just gets totally flipped on its head.
Comedy is the ultimate translator. It makes niche culture accessible to the mainstream. Meme accounts immediately grabbed moments from the game and used them for totally unrelated jokes.
I saw that clip of the coach's face everywhere.
That frustrated, wide-eyed reaction.
Yeah.
It was originally about game anxiety, but it was immediately repurposed as a universal reaction to, a slow internet connection or a bad day at work. The original context just fades away.
And what were the other big sources of humor?
The sources pointed to quarterback jokes, a lot of exaggerated rivalry humor, but the most effective drivers were the parody edits.
The movie trailers?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Parody accounts would make these cinematic trailers for a mundane field goal, and they were so over the top that they forced non-fans to look up the original game just to get the joke.
And that initial search is key.
That, wait, what really happened moment is what pushes a topic from a niche conversation into a full-blown cultural phenomenon.
So if we put all of this together, the drama, the controversy, the fan arguments, the memes, what is the actual formula for why this game transcended sports?
I think you can distill it down to a proven four-part formula. And this game was a textbook case. This drama plus surprise plus memes plus content that is inherently highlight-friendly.
And it has to be all four.
That synergy is what creates the content monster. They appeal to every possible segment of the audience. The drama and surprise hook, the dedicated fan, and the casual viewer just looking for excitement.
The memes pull in the people who don't care about sports at all.
They give them a low-friction way into the conversation. And the highlight-friendly content ensures it's all perfectly packaged for the algorithm on any short-form platform.
If you only had one or two of those, it would just fade away.
Right. Great analysis stays on niche forums. Memes alone are fleeting, but the combination gives you persistence, emotion, and accessibility. The conversation just never dies down.
We talked about controversy being a big amplifier. Just how powerful is one single controversial moment in keeping a discussion going?
It's enormously disproportionately powerful. The source analysis shows that controversy is the central anchor for the entire discussion.
It's the highest octane fuel.
Because it generates the most intense emotions. Anger, frustration, the need to defend your side. And those emotions translate directly into the engagement metrics that algorithms value most. Comments, shares, quote tweets.
So a simple score difference gets a few headlines, but a bad penalty guarantees a week-long war online.
Exactly. People forget the final score pretty quickly. They never forget the feeling of injustice, the sense that the game was stolen from them. That outrage provides a common ground for argument that just constantly reintroduces the game into trending feeds.
And it seems like the fandoms themselves are doing most of the work to keep this circulating. What does this whole thing teach us about modern fandom?
It teaches us that passionate online fan bases are not just consumers anymore. They are the primary unpaid engine for creating and spreading all this content.
They're basically free, highly emotional content marketers.
That's a great way to put it. They create this steady, reliable stream of re-engagement that keeps the topic alive.
And what are the implications of that? The fact that all this fan labor is being leveraged by platforms.
The implication is that virality is now an active economic contribution. The sheer volume of posts from these passionate fan bases is what tells the algorithm to prioritize the topic. Fandom is now structurally linked to content promotion, which turns loyal fans into essentially free media professionals whose work directly increases platform revenue.
So finally, what does this mean for how we consume sports in general? Is this changing how casual fans interact with the NFL?
I think we're absolutely seeing a paradigm shift. There's a growing, undeniable trend of casual fans consuming sports almost purely through these short-form clips.
They're not watching the full 3-hour game.
No, they're not there for the flow or the strategy. They're reacting almost exclusively to isolated moments of drama, incredible highlights, and controversy, often without the context to really appreciate the game itself.
So they're getting the emotional punctuation without the full narrative sentence.
That is precisely it. The entire emphasis is on the most shareable, most emotional, most shocking 5 or 10 seconds. And because those clips are so polished for rapid consumption, the casual fan develops this very fragmented understanding of the sport.
Their knowledge is built only on the most extreme moments.
Right. Their knowledge is built on the moments of highest intensity. The Panthers 49ers game was just a masterclass in providing a whole series of these perfect, self-contained, high-emotion punctuations that could be absorbed one by one.
Which is what allowed it to completely transcend traditional sports viewership. The modern fan knows the highlight reel better than the game tape.
That's the takeaway.
This analysis confirms that the Panthers versus 49ers game wasn't merely a sports fixture. It was the result of a near-perfect collision between high-stakes, on-field drama and an optimized, well-oiled social media content ecosystem.
It dominated online culture because the action on the field provided the emotional fuel, and the professional content machinery ensured that fuel was packaged and delivered efficiently across every digital platform.
The knowledge we gain from this is clear. In today's digital world, a game's cultural impact is less about the final score and far more about the continuous, instantaneous, and shareable drama it generates long after the players have left the field. That's a fascinating thought to mull over how much of what we think is organic drama is actually structurally optimized content. Next time on Trending Unpacked, we're unpacking something truly unexpected: the sudden spike in searches around the Ethiopian volcano eruption. What happened, what's confirmed, and why the world is watching. See you then.